What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back in with a new video. And today, it is time that we go back up to Washington and do another deep dive poll watch video for the Washington Senate races. Folks, new polls from reputable pollsters, mind you, is showing that Tiffany Smiley could potentially be within striking distance. Now, quick disclaimer, not predicting this. I know there's be some clowns that go on Twitter and say, see, Real American predicts that Washington Senate race will be Tiffany Smiley plus 15. No. What I am saying is the polling is indicating this is a closer race, some fundamentals indicating this is a closer race, and we just gotta see. So again, this is not a prediction. I'm just looking at what I'm seeing. Not an official prediction, nothing like that. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter account in the description down below, and join the channel today. That is right, folks, for just 10 cents a day, you can join Real American Politics. Only 10 cents a day! That's a phenomenal deal, as that equals $36 a year. And what you get? A good feeling in your heart knowing, hey, I support a Real American Politics, helping support the daily content. We all love the daily content. So I hope you join today. Anyways, folks, enough the promotion stuff. Let's get into it. So, Washington Senate race. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is going to cause a lot of controversy because anytime somebody speaks of a race that could potentially be closer than expected, you get all these losers saying, he's predicting that Washington will go red, or you had some clowns on also saying, Real American Politics has said Lee Zeldin will win the state of Washington by 10. It's like, no. When I make these videos, I'm not saying Smiley's gonna win. I'm not saying she's favored. What I am saying is this is purely based on fundamentals and data we got that this is going to be closer than usual. Now the question is, will it be a victory for Smiley? I doubt that. So that's a disclaimer. Again, I'm getting sick of some of these people that take people like my words out of context, people like Rick Chabaris out of context, Red Eagle out of context, and they run with it for 5 years. It's like, no. Just listen to full context of what somebody said, and you'll understand. So hope everybody understands. Not an official prediction. So let's get that out of the way right off the bat. So, Washington. I made a couple videos explaining how Smiley could pull off the upset. Well, it appears the race has gotten closer since last time. I think it was around this time here. I think it was late September. I made a video on the race. Murray was at plus 8.8, so essentially 9. As of today, RCP has Murray up by 5. Now, when you account for past errors, it's probably closer to Murray plus 6. Washington has technically favored Republicans polling-wise. They understated Democrat support by roughly a point. So let's go with the 6 points, all right? 6 points because I don't want to be seen as, a biased news source that doesn't adjust for the polls for some states. It's like, no, I'm just saying what RCP is saying. So let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and say the historical bias, which has happened in Washington, happens again. Murray would be up by 6. So let's say half of that is given to Murray, half of that's a downgrade for Smiley. So Murray would be like 52 or 50.3. While Smiley would be at like a 44.2. Now, you know the rule with me. If an incumbent senator, or even a governor, but mostly senators, if they're below 50%, especially in an environment like this, where their party is out of, or in power, and it's a red wave, or a blue wave, or whatever, it's a wave not favoring them, they tend to be in deep trouble, especially in a state like Washington, where it's only 2 candidates on the ballot. At least I think. I don't think there's write-ins because they do the blanket primary, but you get the point. Well, Murray in the RCP aggregate is at 49.7, while if you count for we use the adjusted thing, 50.2. So even then, she is very close to falling before 50. If not, she's already below 50% if we use the RCP average without adjusting it. That's not a good sign for Murray. You know these undecided voters. Those voters, they've been undecided for this entire time. Sure, we disapprove the job of Joe Biden. We never want them voted for Murray again, but we're going to vote for her anyways. Sure, there's probably like some voters that do that, but that is such an absurd assumption to think that all these undecideds, or even like half, are going to break for Murray. The majority of them are going to break for Smiley. The question is this: is it enough to get it within the realm of possibility? It's very tricky to say, because Washington is a very unique state politically, deserves its own like week-long marathon, because it's not just, it's blue, that means it's automatically a liberal hellhole, which there's parts of it like Seattle obviously, but it's a unique state politically. And these voters that are undecided, they're the ones that you can truly say they're like those independent-minded voters that they don't vote blue no matter who or red no matter who. They're the definition of purely undecided voters. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of these undecided voters, they're mostly pure independents. And, well, they don't like the job Joe Biden's doing. And the vast majority of them, their biggest issues is inflation or crime. Inflation/economy or crime. Abortion's very close to crime. But based on what I've seen, you could give the edge as crime as the number 2 issue in the state of Washington. I don't care what Survey USA says about, crime, abortion's number 1. Bullshit. I call BS on that. Even in Washington, all right? Even, let's say, fine, abortion is the number 1 issue. Only 26% of voters said abortion was the number 1 issue in that Survey USA poll. So let's just say they're right, which I don't take much weight into Survey USA. But let's say they're correct. Okay, that's 26%. They're all going to vote Democrat. Then 7% I think said climate change. Like 3% said healthcare. So you're at 40%. And the remaining undecideds, there's like 60 to 70% of the remaining undecideds. They say the economy / inflation or crime is the number 1 issue. How do you think those voters are going to break? They're not going to break for Murray or the Democrats. We saw this in Seattle last year. Now, I know local races, especially DA races, mayor races, they're a whole different animal. But you still have a Republican winning the DA race in one of the most Democrat cities in America. Look, I understand a DA race, especially with a moderate Republican versus what was a complete nut job, even for Democrat standards. But even then, a Republican still won that DA race. You still had to find a way to pick off a lot of these independents that they're more of the, I guess you could say, the more moderate Democrats. That's the best way to describe them. Like, they may be a bit more socially liberal, fine, all right? But they don't like what's happening in the streets. They don't like what's happening with the economy. And a lot of them, they don't like what's happening in the schools with what their kids are being taught. I know there's some of them that think it's great, but the majority of these voters that are independent-minded, but they tend to lean Democrat, they don't like what's happening in this country. They just don't. And that's why I think Murray is kind of in trouble. Not that she's going to lose, but she's going to win not by as much as she probably should. Well, she doesn't deserve to win, but she's going to win, in my opinion, by 3 to 4, maybe 5 points. Now, you look at the history. In 2010, she won by around 4 points, give or take 3.8. Could this potentially be closer than 2010? I say that's kind of the ceiling for Smiley, barring something like the generic ballot being like R+8, R+10. That's one of the only ways I could see Murray losing, if it's that extreme. I see it as R+5, R+6, which will give, I think, get it within 4, maybe. But for her to lose, I think generic ballot needs to be like R+8, R+9. That's one of the only ways you can realistically take out Patty Murray. Now, before we end today's video, there is something I wanted to show you guys with a poll that's not on the RCP aggregate. but it is a Republican pollster. So disclaimer about that. It's More Information Group, and they have the race tied. Tried to pull in another Republican pollster. They have the race as a 6-point lead. But you notice all of these Republican pollsters, they have like between a 3 to 6 point victory for Murray. But even PPP, which one of the worst pollsters in the country, they barely have Murray up by 10. So this race is going to be within like 6 points for sure, in my opinion. It's going to be within 6 points, barring something crazy happening. But it appears that these Republican pollsters that, surprisingly, not all of them, but a good chunk of them, they tend to be more accurate. It's weird, but they tend to be a bit more accurate than other pollsters. But they're still pretty bad. They could have a big miss here. But they're indicating that this race is kind of basically within that 6-point margin. So at this point, it's a matter of, is it lean Democrat, likely Democrat? I don't know. Best case scenario, I think Murray wins by like under 4. Now, in the extreme scenario, like the 1% chance of it happening, Smiley could theoretically win if all the undecideds break. Murray does a little bit worse than she's supposed to. I mean, she's hanging on to that 50% threshold like a thread, by a literal thread, if she's holding on to it. Trafalgar shows otherwise. But we just gotta see. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter account in the description down below, and join the channel today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.